And I'm sure the audience will appreciate that, Mary, so thank you. Just want to echo Mary's comments. This has been an incredible process, and I am so impressed by the thought leaders that have been brought together to really help us frame this consortium. The input has been invaluable, and I feel like while there are many more questions that have arisen, I feel like there's much more clarity in the direction that we need to go. And so I'm extremely excited. I think we should all be excited with the fact of this rapidly moving forward. A couple of items I want to address. I want to talk about next steps, but if you recall yesterday after lunch, I talked about the need to not only obviously have a platform to deliver, but a way to index and to collate and to catalog the content that will eventually be on this platform. You should have in front of you another handout that we passed out over the break, and this is a particular model that has been developed to do that indexing and cataloging. There is a link that you can get on and follow the instructions. There was a hot link in the PDF, that item 10, but I think this is going to be put up on a website for everyone to access, so that should restore that hot link to do a questionnaire. And so we really do want your input on whether this type of indexing and cataloging system would work. And so I just wanted to draw your attention to that. As far as next steps, and I kind of enjoy the nuts and bolts of things, figuring out how do you operationalize something like this, and there are great challenges, but as Mary and others have said, this is really an exciting period to have all of your input. Clearly, we want to review other consortia, and we've already begun that process to understand those that have been successful and how they are governed, how their financial structure works. So we'll be doing that, continuing that as a bit of homework. We've talked about that as a steering committee, having another meeting face-to-face, kind of a day-long meeting, almost a retreat, sometime in April, where we can digest what we've learned today and further refine that. Clearly, we need to look at the membership structure, and I too agree that the idea of chapters is a fabulous idea. And with that comes a revision of the bylaws, another draft. Before again we move forward with finalizing that, we will continue to want to get input. Clearly we need to reach out to other regions and have a similar conversation as we've had here the last 2 days. I doubt whether we'll have the level of engagement that we've seen here though. So again, it's been very impressive. We need to really take that what is a steering committee and formalize it as a board and expand the numbers that we have that now function as a steering committee. And we talked quite a bit about policies and procedures. And so begin with your input to draft policies and procedures, understanding that we need to provide the flexibility to allow those regional differences, those cultural differences to come through in both the bylaws and the policies and procedures. We need to develop a budget. You've provided some great input on what you thought were acceptable fees, but it's pretty hard to come up with what something should cost if you don't know what your expenses are going to be. So that will be a priority as we look to finalize the platform we're using, if we're going to be using an index and cataloging system, and what other expenses we would expect from an operational budget standpoint. Along with that, we need to look at the platform design. And I think we had some very good input, and you have really some great examples here in India and what has been released now with the Indian Online University system. And then begin to accept and inventory some of the content, or at least understand what some of the content is. And actually Ramesh has done some of that already. So as we discussed, we want to make sure that as much content can be open access content, but also recognize that some institutions are going to have some protected content that they want to see wider usage, and I think that is certainly acceptable. I think the key for all of us is we want this to be extremely inclusive. We want this to be effective, and we do want it learner-centered. So we have to figure out a way to develop that bilateral learning, because I think, as we've discussed, we can also learn from our students. And I think that's an exciting opportunity. And I think that's what some of the technology will provide us the opportunity to achieve. So those are my thoughts as far as next steps. I'm excited because, as I said, when we came here, a lot of it was somewhat foggy. We had drafts. I feel like I can really go forward now with much more clarity of thought and purpose, which excites me, and I hope it also excites you as we move forward. Let me also say that I truly appreciate the hospitality of ICRISAT, our hosts, and of all of you. This has been a wonderful experience for me, my first trip to India, and I can honestly say I would be disappointed if it's my last. I hope to be able to visit again and see a little bit more, but really do appreciate all the hard work and the hard work of Dilip and his staff. It's been incredible. I'm usually not treated this well at home, so thank you.